Good evening, everyone. This is A Marvelous, and I'm back. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me your attention. I greatly appreciate it. Um, so this video, I wasn't planning on doing, but I think it's a necessity because this gets into the people that you attract and the type of environment and mindset that a person has to have when they're trying or attempting, not trying, attempting to get to a higher destination or a destination that's more favorable for you, whatever your goals are. So this video is about the type of people to stay away from. And this is very important because you have people that are dream killers. You have people that they have a lot of animosity, whether it's open or hidden. And these people will do things to kind of provoke or kind of start trouble in subtle ways, you know and those people contribute, if you let them, to stopping your progress. So in this video, I'm going to identify the different types of people, and some people might exhibit more than one of these type of characteristics that I'm talking about. But part of the reason why I do other videos about staged events and things like that is simply just to be able to see what is. A lot of stuff in our life is blared at us and thrown at us, and we're so bombarded with so much nonsense that we don't even know what's our original thought. What is our original thought? What is our parents' thoughts? What's society's thoughts? What's our children's thoughts? What's TV's thoughts? So to get to the root of yourself, to get down to what is actually an organic, self-generated thought or emotion, takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of meditation. It takes a lot of quiet space. It takes a lot of discernment. It takes a lot of humility. It takes a lot of feedback from people outside of you, so you don't have biases or blindness. So if you don't set time aside to meditate and do these things, you're just going. You're not really getting in touch with who you are. So part of me making this video is to kind of assess people that surround you, around me or etc. And also for those that it's are inspired to kind of do better with money and things like that. Your surroundings is very important. Your environment, the people you talk to, how much time you spend on certain things is important. So I'm going to identify the types of people to stay away from or to navigate carefully with when it comes to money and even life in general. So the first type of person to stay away from, and this is on the money tip, is stay away from people that get a majority of their advice from the Breakfast Club or from outlets that have nothing to do with finance. And what do I mean by that? The Breakfast Club is a good show. It has a lot of guests and hosts, and it allows someone that doesn't have access to that world of Hollywood or success with famous people to get a glimpse into their world. And it's motivational, it's inspiring. You see people, you get to see sides of them that you don't see on TV. It's motivational, right? But what I notice is that some people is that they get most of their advice, or they get so pumped up and they take that as the holy grail. So someone that might have become successful, or let's say in business, they'll give their little recommendations, and then people will run with it and say, I'm going to go attempt that. I'm going to go see if that works. Be careful of people like that, because they don't have, 10 to 1, they don't have any other background in things like entrepreneurship or business or money. So they're coming to you from them being motivated from these individuals. But without that kind of motivation, they wouldn't take it upon themselves or generate the ideas to go out and do it. So be careful of that. When someone is suggesting to you some kind of entrepreneur or some kind of business thing, check their pedigree. See if what they are saying makes sense. Is it coming from them, or is it coming from something else that you might have seen on a TV show, and you know damn well that that's where they got it from? So be careful of people that's giving you second, third, and fourth hand advice, and they're doing it from a motivational standpoint when they themselves have not tried it. So be careful of that. The second type of person is be careful of those individuals that they stop you from wanting to acquire something big. There's a book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And in that, he actually is being a contrarian. He actually shows that the whole myth of you doing the 60-hour and hustle and bustle is actually backwards. You know, it's something that you don't have to do. And a lot of people, when they get into this desperate mind frame and, you know, things have to be acquired, I gotta pay these bills, it kind of clouds their judgment and it stops them from chasing something big. And in the book, he gives an example of, I think he spoke to Harvard or one of these schools, and he issued them a challenge. I think he said you have to contact at least three to five extremely famous people, and I think he had to either have a conversation with them, or you had to get them to write something to that nature. The point was, he issued a challenge to these Ivy League college students that if they contacted these individuals, it could be anybody of high fame, high success that is extremely unattainable. And if they contacted these individuals just to have a conversation, he would give them money or some kind of scholarship or something like that. Lo and behold, I think only one person or something like that, or nobody, came through with the challenge. So he gave that example to show that people don't reach the highest potential or do things that they feel is outside of them because they feel that they have to start small, or they feel that they have to dim their light and do things in this box as opposed to reaching for the stars. So after this example came out, he issued the challenge again, and then in another college, more people did it. So the point of that was, he issued the challenge was to show that you never know what you can achieve or accomplish by reaching to heights that's way bigger than you, simply because we think that it's outside of our realm. So don't buy into the hype that you can't go after something that you think is highly unattainable, because even if you fail, the fact that you went for it shows that you have stretched yourself farther than you can ever believe. Which leads me to the third type of person. Be careful listening to people that have never gotten out of their comfort zones. And you know the type. They've been in the same place forever, never lived anywhere else, never traveled. People they always want to tell you about business ideas and entrepreneur stuff, but was never an entrepreneur. They never took any chances. None of that. Be careful of those people. It's like an entrepreneur or a self-starter is someone that decides to say, you know what, I'm going to do this because I feel it's going to work. And they do that no matter what other people say. So you have a lot of people that's on the sidelines that they take second and third hand advice, they read books, and they do all of this stuff, but they never get in the game. And if you question them and ask them, well, what have you done? You know, they can't even give you past accomplishments. They can't even give you past failures. At least tell me something that you failed in. So you have to watch those people. People that have never been in the game are less qualified than people that have failed and don't have, because they've never been in the game. It's like, who would you listen to? An NBA player that wasn't that known, averaged maybe 5 or 10 points, but played 10 years in the NBA, solid, did his part, or someone that was never in the NBA at all, ever, didn't even play college ball, but kind of nice in the streets. Like, who would you listen to? So you have to watch those people. The people that have never been in the game, least qualified to tell you anything about business and entrepreneurship. Which leads me to the next type of person. Be careful of the person that cannot see value. Somebody I know, they gave an example back to the Breakfast Club of someone that was on the Breakfast Club. And now this gentleman is successful, and he was given advice about going to the dollar store, taking stuff from the dollar store, reselling it on eBay. He was basically giving examples of things that he did when he was rising to the top to make money. Now, mind you, I don't think this person made millions of dollars, but I respect that because I used to hustle. I used to actually go to the flea market and build my own business from scratch with children and a partner, and that took a lot of courage. Getting up at like 4, 5 in the morning, traveling like 45 minutes to an hour, built a business, little to no dough, started with flipping toys from the dollar store. So I've actually done that. But people that suggest things like that because they see someone else has done it, these are people that only see value after someone has been successful. You have to watch that. These type of individuals, they'll always get inspired and motivate, and they'll only listen to people that are successful after they've been successful. But if they met these same people before they got successful, they wouldn't listen to anything they're saying. These are people that cannot see value. So it's like, if, let's name someone that's highly successful, let's say Jay-Z. If these individuals, you got to really watch this tight. If these individuals met Jay-Z when he was not Jay-Z, when he was hustling, or the times when he was struggling and broke, and they interacted with him, even if they were friends with him, these type of individuals wouldn't listen to nothing Jay-Z said at all. They would laugh at him. They would diss him. They would dismiss it. They would have secret animosity. None of that. But these same individuals, if they didn't know when he was coming up, when he's successful and blown up and he's Jay-Z that we all know, they'll swear his advice was the Holy Grail. Even though what got him to be Jay-Z was this person before he was this big superstar. So you have to recognize that. These are people that cannot see value. They'll only listen to people when they have mega bucks or if they're driving the Benz, and they won't listen to these same individuals if they knew them before they were successful. These are the type of people that Bernie Madoff and other swindlers love. This is why so many Americans are prone to scams, because most Americans, most people, but most Americans especially, they love the gloss. They only listen to people that appear to have money or that have a lot of money. They don't do no vetting, no research. They don't look at the person's history, their struggles. As long as they see the flash or hear something, they're all on it, not taking anything else into consideration. You have to watch that, because value doesn't matter if you have a Benz, or doesn't matter if you have $1 million. There's something that anybody can tell you that's worthwhile, that'll implant something in your mind to help you explode. But these type of individuals, they couldn't hear gems from anyone unless they seen a Mercedes-Benz, jewelry, fly bank account, or large houses, or they seen them on TV. Stay away from those people. Those people will always be slaves to what they can touch. Keep that in mind. Which leads me to, it's like these type of people all exhibit similar attitudes and behaviors, but they're still different in their own way. You understand? I call those people money status people. The people that can't see value and are wowed by the fancy things and the materials. Watch those people, because those type of people will always be suckers for the flash. They have an inability to see value when it's in their face. So keep that in mind. The next type of person you have to watch out for, and it overlaps with the other types, is the person that's always worked a job, and they want to tell you up and down that this is how business operates. The only thing you can qualify to tell me is how to get a job or how to work a job. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to stay in your lane. You understand? If you have not gone outside of your lane and seen the failures, you're not qualified to tell anyone on a business path. So you have to watch those. The other type, stay away from those that you feel have some kind of secret animosity towards you, but don't have the courage to express it to you. As you get older, the goal is supposed to be, at least in my opinion, to get better, to work on your flaws, to grow, and to actually improve yourself. Part of that is being able to communicate and being able to express with the people close to you, or in general, if there's a problem. But some people, because of whatever emotions that they have going on, they don't have the capacity to open up the door to have a dialogue if there's a problem. You have to be very careful. So instead, these are the passive aggressives. These are very, very dangerous. The passive aggressive people they'll have an issue with you, but they won't come out and tell you. So they'll throw a little sarcastic jabs. They'll always say the slick comments. And you could just tell in their overall demeanor and countenance that they have some kind of issue with you, but they just won't tell you. Even if you ask them, they just won't tell you. So you have to be careful of the passive aggressives, because these individuals will always fester and harbor things, and you just won't know it, but you'll feel it, and that'll get in the way with your communication. So you have to definitely watch those. Also, you have to watch the individuals that always complain about you criticizing someone else when it turns out that they criticize other people. Some people, they might call me and say, "Oh, you hating," or they might say, "Why did you say that about this person?" And I'm like, I'm just giving my opinion because we're having a private conversation. But then it come to find out they do the exact same thing. So, like I say, everybody at some point is a hypocrite. But I think it's best to acknowledge when you are a hypocrite, because at least you're self-aware of what you're doing. At least you could admit it and say, "Listen, yeah, I was hating. I'm a hypocrite." There's power in that, because it shows that you're not blind. It shows that you're passionate about something, and no one could really call you on it later. So you have to watch the individuals that get on you for being yourself and criticizing, but yet they do the same thing. You definitely have to watch that. So I wanted to make this video just to kind of shed light, because if you don't have the right people around you, these people can become dream killers. They will always implant something in your mind, and if you believe into it because you're at a certain state and they feel that you should be at a better state in order to say something, those people can become very dangerous. They have the ability, if you let them, to stop your ideas from flowing, to stop pursuing bigger things. So that's crucial. There's someone that I know where they always want to start small. Starting small is fine. You got to do what's best for you. But that's not a default mechanism. There's not one cookie cutter way to do anything. Can you imagine if everyone was to do something the same way? You know how many things wouldn't be created? You know how many things wouldn't be utilized right now? You don't always have to start small. In fact, we all start small. Everything we do is on a small level if you're just trying to survive. What if the problem is we're always doing that? You got a lot of, and it's going to get me to the next type of person also. But what if the problem was you just wasn't reaching big enough? Right? What if that was the issue? They say that there's so much room at the top is because no one strives for the top. You know what I mean? No one strives for the top. There's tons of books about it. The 10X rule. Whatever your goal is, magnify it times 10. This way, if you fail, you're way above your goal. That's nothing but dreaming big. So you don't always have to start small. You could start with your capacity, but don't buy into the hype of dimming your light and that's nonsense. That's ludicrous. Fortune favors the bold. Period. Fortune favors the bold. Even villains, even people that have horrible character, the fact that they have audacity and they reach for the stars, they still get rewarded. In the 48 Laws of Power, there was a story about a con man named Yellow Kid Wheel. And Yellow Kid Wheel was an expert con man. And I believe he attempted to sell the Eiffel Tower. What nerve. This dude attempted to sell, and if I'm incorrect, please give me feedback and let me know. I don't want to botch the story up, but I believe it was the Eiffel Tower. He tried to flip the Eiffel Tower for a profit. You know what I mean? And I forgot the exact outcome of the story. I think he got something for it. But the fact that he got something for it or got away with doing it shows that the personality is amazing. You know what I mean? So you have to look at that. It's that type of audacity and shooting for the higher level that makes successful people successful. It's not dimming your light. It's not always starting small. Which leads me to the next type of person to be careful of. Be careful of the person that's always quoting gurus. They're always chasing the successful person. You know the type. This person said that, and that person said this, and oh, this person gave me an idea, so I'm going to go follow it. And then 3 months later, 6 months later, they're on to the next. It's something that I read. It said that to acquire success, you have to focus on one thing. To keep the money and the success, you have to diversify. Think about that. In order to gain wealth, you have to focus on one thing. In order to keep wealth, you have to diversify. And I thought about that. I said, wow. And a lot of people, your slaves to security people, they'll always try to hustle and do 1,000 things. Oh, you got to keep more pans on the oven and all this dumb cliches, because they never focus. And you could always tell someone that has very little entrepreneur skills, or they haven't had that much experience in doing their own thing, because if you ask them, well, what's the longest that you focused on one thing, they'll stutter. They don't have any examples. It's because they're on the sidelines. And that's the problem. If you look at successful people, whether they start small or they start big, they got their traction by one thing, not 1,000 things, not the jack of all trade. They focus on one thing and they get busy. That's it. Period. All the things that we utilize, and I always say this, is from people that was passionate, they loved what they did, and they locked and loaded, they blocked everything else out, and boom, they went for it. When you hear John Singleton, I think he mortgaged his house. He locked and loaded, He didn't shrink and think small. He went for the gusto, and he's successful. Even if he failed, he went for it. No different than Damon John from Shark Tank and Fubu. If you have something that you love, you go for the gusto, you put your chips in there, and you get busy. So watch the guru chasers. These are the people that always quote the gurus, which leads me to another type. But watch the guru people. They always quote the gurus. They always quoting something that these people did, and then they try it, and then 3 months later they're on to something else. If you ask them if they've ever done something for 1 year straight, hell, even 6 months straight, they have not. These people are not qualified to tell you about business or entrepreneurship. Which leads me to the next type of people. Be aware of the people that always want stuff for free. These are the worst. If you ask these individuals, well, I see you quote all these gurus, I see you read all these books, how many seminars have you been to? Ask them, have they ever personally invested their money into things, not purchasing a book? Have they traveled to a seminar? When their favorite guru that they quote comes into town, do they pay to see this guru? Have they donated to this guru? Have they come out of pocket to put their money where their mouth is in order to support these gurus to learn these lessons? I promise you the answer is no. If a person is telling you entrepreneur or business stuff and they have not put their skin in the game with investing their money and they always want stuff free, you can always tell the type. You say, okay, well, you doing this. What about your marketing? How much did you put? Or, oh, I could just get it off YouTube. Oh, I could just get it off free. Those are bootleggers. Piranhas. Those are the worst. People that's always looking for free, horrible. You know what I mean? Those are the worst, because these are, again, goes with people that can't see value. You got to be able to contribute. Individuals put a lot of time into writing books. They put a lot of time into delivering the stuff they give. So always trying to get stuff free, that's a poverty mentality. Poor people do that. You could be broke but not poor. That's the thing. People get it confused. Just because a person is broke doesn't mean that they're poor. Poverty is a mindset. Broke is a state, a current state. It's a current condition, not a permanent condition. But most people that don't see value, they only want to see the wealth and the rich after it's manifested. But if these same individuals met these successful people before they got rich, they would step over them and they would diss them. You got to be aware of those people. So be careful of the guru quotas and the people that love, they're addicted to free. Anyone that's addicted to free, 10 to 1, they will be adverse to paying you for your value. They'll be adverse to paying you for your knowledge. Those people are going nowhere. So don't buy the hype that you always got to start small. And I'm not even going to say start where you feel comfortable, because sometimes your comfort zone could be holding you back. Success lies outside your comfort zone. So if you're not constantly stretching that bubble and that circle that confines you, how are you going to grow? How are you going to grow? These phones didn't exist 10 years ago. Now look, these same phones have the power at one point. The same power that's in these phones or the same power that made movies years ago. Same thing. Now it's micro size. But what if people decided to just stay in their bubble and start small? So, which leads me to the last one, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Stay away from people that always quote successful people, but they never tell you about the path that these successful people took. They always look at the gloss. Oh, this person, he sold index cards and he went to the flea market, which I've done, and they haven't. But they never tell you about the pain and the struggle that these individuals went through. They never mention how someone like a Spike Lee was going through so much pain that he's in the bathtub like crying because it's not working out. They're not telling you how the star from Mad Men didn't get on till he was in his 36, 37 to 38, you know? Sylvester Stallone's story is, oh boy. People never mention that when they mention success, but they always want to mention the gloss and the I call it the Scarface syndrome, you know? These are little Scarfaces. That's what I'm gonna call them, little Scarfaces. They always want to mention the success of Scarface and all that, but they don't see the fact that he almost got killed. His friend got, sliced with a damn chainsaw. They don't mention that. They don't mention the ugly or the bad. They only mention the good, and that's a false picture. If you're gonna talk about successful people, you have to give a whole picture. Well, how did they do it? What struggles did they go through? So if you're gonna tell somebody that, you're not misleading them. So all of these types can become cancers. Be aware of that if you encounter them. There's ways you can jujitsu it, but don't believe the hype. You don't have to start small. You start where your talent lies, because your success can lie in realms that's so far out of your reach that you would have never thought to even go there. A lot of times we're not where we're at, and I'm guilty, because we're always hanging around people that aren't on your level, and in order for you to get successful, you have to hang out with people that's higher than your level. But some people's egos don't allow that. That's another thing. You have to watch out for people and their egos, Don't be afraid to hang out with people that's on a higher level than you, because they're going to pull you up, But some people, they always want to go from afar, They always want to quote people, but they've never met them. They've never contacted them, like Tim Ferriss suggests. They never follow the success principles of these books. So if you come across a Google quoter, ask them, have you written them? Have you contacted them? Have you gone to their seminars? And I bet you as far as they've gotten is a YouTube video or a book. That's whack. I remember when I first started studying entrepreneur and business, I dropped my whole check. I was 19, whole check. Went to a seminar, was Russ Whitney, on spot. Traveled 2 hours for that, Sacrifice. So if people haven't sacrificed and they always want stuff free on YouTube, beware of YouTube businessmen also. The worst. So with that, thank you for tuning in. I hope this helped. Give me your feedback, positive, negative, and I appreciate your attention. And don't forget to start the conversation. Peace.